When people talk about the movie that changed their life, we can get a little cynical, right? For one person, it might be Schindler's List, and for another, it could be From Justin to Kelly. You get my point, right? Well, for Laura Vandervoort, it was a movie called My Girl. Remember it? Really cool movie with Macaulay Culkin and Anna Klumsky. Two kids learning about the hurt that comes with life. Laura saw it at a young age, and it lit a fire in her. You know, a shy kid growing up in Toronto, she began to immerse herself in the films of Tim Burton, as well as great performances by the likes of Meryl Streep and Gordon Pinsent. And by the time she was 16, Laura had a growing acting career to go with her second-degree black belt, karate being the other passion in her life. Her break came with a lead role on a Canadian show, Instant Star. And since then, Laura said she's fought against being cast in a typical girlfriend role. She was a badass Supergirl on Smallville.
It's been a long time, Kella. I missed you.
I missed you too.
And played a lizard princess in the remake of the 80s sci-fi classic Bee. Now that show's been canceled, but Laura's still doing her thing for the lizards. She's the face of PETA's new ad campaign. It calls for a boycott of snake, alligator, and lizard skin products. And before you weigh in on Hollywood stars telling us what's right and wrong, you might want to remember, she's got a black belt.
Everybody, please welcome Laura Vandervoort. Hello, Laura. Nice to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's nice to see you.
Such a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise. You're doing so well. Does it feel like it?
I mean, I'm very particular, and I never feel like I'm doing enough or doing as well as I could. But, you know, I'm busy and I'm working, so that's really what matters.
That's an interesting place to be when you don't feel like you're doing enough or working enough. That could be dangerous over time.
Yeah, it could be. But, you know, I just take everything in stride and hope to keep working. I just moved to LA.
How's that going?
Don't recommend it. But
no, it's
I'm
a tough city to move to, but you moved there obviously because it's like a lot of Canadians. You have to move to work, right?
Yeah, you sort of have to, but I come home as much as I can. This is where my family and friends are, but slowly transitioning.
You know, you're making noise. You've had TV shows now, but the PETA thing, choosing to do the PETA thing is cool. What's interesting about her choice to be in this PETA campaign, which you saw in the bio, is most of the time PETA goes and solicits the person, but the story is you called PETA.
I did. Yeah, I guess I'm an odd duck. Thanks. You know, I grew up around animals. My dad grew up on a farm. Animals have been very important to me. And I actually feel more comfortable with animals than I do with humans, which is probably not a good thing with what I do for a living.
You know, in 40 or 50 years, when you're a total recluse, we're gonna. This is the clip they're gonna play.
I'll be a cat woman.
That's right.
Like, oh, that's right. She's just, you know, lives with cats.
But what I liked about what you did was that the common criticism is that people only care about the fluffy ones.
Yes.
As a fan, as a fan who loves herpetology and loves snakes and lizards and all that, you chose to work with the ones that aren't the fluffy ones.
Yeah, I mean, I contacted them. I had wanted to work with PETA for a long time, and you know, this made sense. I was playing a reptile on V, a lizard in waiting, yeah. And it just worked. And I didn't know much about the reptiles, and they sent me videos, information, and that really got me. Joaquin Phoenix did a video that really affected me. I was crying, and I said, please, whatever I can do, I'd like to be a part of it.
Posing nude just happened to be it.
Yeah. You know, the ads, they're not as common as you'd find other ads, and you know, it's just, it makes noise, it gets attention if that's what you have to do, if you're comfortable with it. It's the first time I've ever done it, maybe the last time, but it made sense. You know, the PETA is quite vilified too by a lot of people. How much did the controversy become part of your discussion? I knew that there would be controversy, and I knew that that's something I'd have to deal with. But like I said, I believe in it, and that's really all that matters. And the message is the important thing, not what the girl's doing in the ad. As you've had success and had a couple of TV series under your belt, and you moved to LA clearly because you know that it's a great place to audition and more work will come from it, in hopes, right? There is that idea of having to make choices to set up the next stage of your career. For a girl, it's harder in a lot of ways. You have to be a little more careful as a female in this industry, and you have to be pickier with your choices. There's so many roles that you turn down because you just don't want to be typecast or seen in a certain light. What are ways you don't want to be seen? I mean, there's been a lot of roles where, you know, clothes are removed or the girl is dumb. I like to play heroic women who have independence and who are strong, Supergirl, that sort of thing, cops. Whatever I can do to kind of
change the way people perceive me is generally what I like to do.
There's a lot that comes in this business. You ever had mentors? You ever had mentors?
Gordon Pinsent, actually, who's a relative of mine, is a great mentor.
Well, then we got a question for you over here.
Oh.
Hello, Laura. It's me, Gordon. I won't take up much of your time with George. Hello, George. I was thinking, when I heard you were in town, I was thinking about a time when a small girl wrote me a letter telling me that she intended to enter the acting field. I wanted to know all about it. Asked me if I had advice, and if I did have advice, it was probably don't ever lose your true self. Always find your way home. And I was thinking, having a pretty good idea of how life goes in the sometimes unreal world that is Hollywood. I was wondering, now that you've moved there, how you've handled that, of returning to the reality that was and is Laura Vandervoort.
Wow. Thank you. I haven't seen him in way too long.
He's a beauty, isn't he?
He's one of the most sincere, genuine, beautiful men I've ever met in my entire life.
What about his question? How have you handled
I'm just gonna avoid that. I'm still handling it. I mean, moving to LA in this industry is, you know, as we were talking about earlier, LA can be a very lonely place. And they want me to get rid of my accent. We have an accent. Don't know if you guys know, but they want me to get rid of it.
Which is not unreasonable if you're playing an American.
Of course. But I mean,
it's harder than you think, though, isn't it?
It is. I just did a movie called Ted, and Seth MacFarlane was the director, and he's got a very keen ear. And he was very conscious of my Canadian accent.
Cut.
So.
You said oot.
Yep, oot, a boot, around.
All right, so we'll talk about the accent. We'll go through that. We'll play a little game with Laura right after this.
Oh, no.
All right, you're back here on the show. Laura Vandervoort is here. Vort like court. So you were talking about trying to lose the Canadian accent for certain roles, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to put you through a little test. There's some common words that we say as Canadians that Americans, they think it's like we're puppies.
Yeah, they think it's cute and silly.
They're like, oh, yeah. So that's what we're going to do. So you ready for this one?
I think so.
Okay, look at the bright side. If you fail, Canadians will think it's awesome that you got it wrong. And you know how protective we can be. All right. So, part one, how do you pronounce that word right there?
About.
Say it again.
About.
About. Now say it as an American.
About.
About. Say it. Now, how would you normally say it?
About.
Okay, about. That's Canadian.
Oh.
You got that wrong.
Oh.
God. You got it right. Now, how about this one? Try this word here. The next one.
Instead of sorry, which is Canadian,
Yeah.
it's sorry.
Sorry.
Yes.
Kind of like a sorry.
Like a sorry.
Really?
That's how I remember.
So when you go out there doing a line, do you actually have to go?
I think of it.
Do you really?
I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
amazing.
like, I'm sorry, Mark Wahlberg. I love you.
All right, you got that one correct. So right now you're 1-1.
Okay.
Which is not bad.
Good.
This is a tough one here. How do you say this word here?
Oh boy, roof.
Right. See, that's how I say roof, but your answer is incorrect.
Rough.
Apparently they rough.
Rough.
They
They're
call
so
it a
weird.
rough.
It's so weird.
Whenever an American gives you a hard time, just say you pronounce it the way it's spelt.
I pronounce it properly.
Exactly.
That's what I say.
All right. How do you say this word here? The next one.
Oh, toque.
Do they even know what a toque is?
They don't. I've been on sets where it's cold, they're wearing winter hats, and I'm like, oh, it's a great toque. They're like, what?
Here's another one. How do you say this word here?
Washroom.
Right. Incorrect. The correct word is restroom.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I go into Starbucks and I'm like, where's the washroom? They go, what? I'm like, where you need to use the washroom?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, no. So yeah, that's another one I've learned about.
Okay, how about this?
Restroom.
When you see this word, what do you say?
Kilometer.
Right, that's incorrect. The correct is 0.62 miles. 0.62 miles. She failed the game, but she keeps her Canadian passport.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Laura.
An orange.
Laura Vandervoort, we'll be right back.